It's no wonder so many Muya crystals have appeared on Misty Island. Historical remains. Discovering historical remains was the quickest way to make a name in the world. Hong discovered quite a few remains, thus becoming the Earth's richest, giving him the ability to build his own unique autojet. Luo Feng's black god Sut started to move, enveloping his whole body. This ancient ruin seems really big. One needed to walk in himself before he could examine the whole place. One needed to make sacrifices to get results. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. His soaring shuttle immediately took the form of the mountain bulwark, floating his blades along with the blade shard in midair surrounding him. Luo Feng squinted his eyes, taking one step at a time towards the cabin door. The cabin door was about 20 meters wide, with a 8 meters deep path, one that was spacious and forked left and right. Muya crystals. Luo Feng lowered his head, looking straight ahead. In the ground along the path, small white glowing crystals were all gathered together, 10, 20, 30, a broken bar, a white blur. The thick fragrance of rice as he stepped in through the cabin door suffocated him. Luo Feng bent down, quickly collecting all the floating Muya crystals, putting them into the black bag on his bag. As he collected them, he counted each one of them. 289 crystals. As he put the last crystal into his bag, Luo Feng could feel his heart racing, almost as though someone was beating a big drum inside. The combined forces from Earth managed to acquire a total of 42 crystals officially. Adding on those that weren't reported, I'd estimate the total to be about 60. Luo Feng came up with a rough estimate. Every one of those crystals were worth a fortune to man. Hong may have acquired 10 and felt beyond satisfied. He even proposed to Luo Feng and the others every crystal is worth 20 star points. Now a broken bar. Luo Feng, just in that cabin, had acquired 289 crystals, much more than all of Earth's forces combined. This must be the real resting place of the crystals. The ones outside can't be that many, just the door entrance and there's 289, I wonder what else is in there. Luo Feng was anticipating much more. An archaeological ruin can't just have Muya crystals, a broken bar. In fact, just the entrance to it had so many crystals. This proved that this ruin was holding a much bigger treasure inside it. Much bigger and more bountiful than any of Earth's other discovered ruins. A broken bar, a broken bar. Following the pathway, Luo Feng was careful as he stepped in through the dust-covered floor. Once through the door, the path broke into two paths, left and right. The moment he stepped to the crossroads, looking left and right, stunned, that a broken bar on Luo Feng's left down the path. The walls were made of a unique metal, however, the walls had huge dents and fist marks, a total of 9 huge fist prints. The path itself had a huge corpse leaning on the pathway. Mini quantum computer, scan. Luo Feng aimed the mini quantum computer straight at the body. The target has no life force, deceased. The mini quantum computer displayed the words through its screen. Yes, a corpse. Luo Feng held his breath, carefully examining the corpse. This corpse's skin was totally dark, body strong and sturdy. He even donned a special battle armor that was covered in unique patterns that were much more complicated than those on the soaring shuttle. Both his fists were covered in a special glove, one red pupil still open and looking determined. My God! The moment Luo Feng made eye contact with the corpse, his heart began trembling. Almost like an ant against a giant dragon. A broken bar. No, correctly put, it was like a normal person facing Bangu, the creator of the universe. Even though it was a corpse, that one eye alone hadn't lost its light. Who knows how long since has that person been dead? A broken bar, yet that one look made Luo Feng tremble, cold sweat running from his head and back. What kind of level has this powerful fighter reached? Too frightening. Luo Feng drew a big cold breath. Calm down, calm down. He realized he couldn't manage eye contact with the corpse. The moment he did, even if he tried to calm himself down, he would still uncontrollably be filled with fear. The kind of fear for his life. No matter how strong his willpower was. Don't look at its eyes. Luo Feng gradually calmed down, avoiding the corpse's eyes. Carefully examining, its height was about 8 meters. It was fairly similar to a large black gorilla, but its skin was totally hairless, shiny and smooth. Judging from its surroundings, It should have died many years ago, yet its skin, hair, hasn't decayed or dried up at all, almost like it's alive. If the corpse wasn't covered in a layer of dust, Luo Feng would have assumed this mysterious being may have died not too long ago. The body seems undamaged. How did it die? Luo Feng thought for a while, shaking his head. He didn't have an answer at all. Let's see what's inside. Luo Feng was in no rush to further examine the body, walking past through the side of the corpse. Following down the spacious path, one road was unblocked with little side roads along the way, but Luo Feng continued following down the big spacious path. After about 300 meters, the path began to wind, until a big door appeared. This door was more than 10 meters wide, and more than 10 meters tall. It was half open. This ice a broken bar. Luo Feng tried not to make any sounds as he stepped through the door. My God! Luo Feng unconsciously gasped cold air. This was at least 10 meters tall, 200 meters wide semicircular gorgeous hall. What shocked Luo Feng the most was a broken bar. The hall had a total of 5 oddly shaped bodies. No, a broken bar, it was 6 in total. Luo Feng used the mini quantum computer to scan once. There was indeed no life force or energy coming from any of them. None of the 5 bodies still looked very alive, without any form of decay whatsoever. The 6th body, however, was left with nothing but bones that glowed golden. Skin and hair long turned to ash. This 6th body, Luo Feng carefully examined. One of the odd-shaped corpses was very similar to the one he discovered at the entrance, slightly smaller but akin to that of a black gorilla with a height of about 6 meters. This body collapsed half kneeling on the ground. His battle armor was broken, body riddled with injuries, yet none of the injuries had a trace of decay. The 2nd body was more similar to that of man, about 4 meters tall, covered in black scales with a horn on his forehead and a tail covered in scales. The 3rd body was also similar in shape to man, about 6 meters tall. Its skin looked almost like tortoise shells. This was like one of the American old films Luo Feng was familiar with, where one of the characters was like a stone man. This body, however, was much better looking. The shell was smooth and shiny, gathered together almost like an exquisite battle armor. The 4th body was almost identical to a human's body. Yellow skin, black hair and a scar on its face, yet he looked calm as he sat cross-legged on the floor, body covered in dust. From Earth. Chinese? Luo Feng stared at the 4th body, curious but regretful. Luo Feng could feel that a broken bar while these things had been dead for a very long time. Every corpse emanated a power that made one tremble helplessly. These were all exceptional warriors, way stronger than Hong and Thunder God by many times, countless times stronger than Luo Feng himself. And this one actually looked like a Chinese man, making Luo Feng even more regretful that he was dead. This 5th body, Luo Feng was suspicious as he looked. The 4 bodies he had examined had injuries, but non-lethal injuries. This 5th body was 5 meters tall. Its body was a copper color, almost like it was molded in copper, and his chest had a huge cavity, like it was pierced with a hand. The strange thing was a broken bar. The cavity in its chest was actually filled with copper-colored weird materials, not organs. Is this a person? Luo Feng shook his head. This 6th body is the most normal. Luo Feng looked at the body, about 2 meters tall, left with nothing but bones, glowing golden. The most unique thing was that there was a small curved horn on his skull's forehead, almost like it was proving it was different from Earth's man with that. A broken bar. 6 bodies in the hall, including the one at the entrance path, a total of 7 corpses. These 7 corpses, only one had decayed until only gold bones were left, the other 6 were almost undamaged, vividly lifelike. If they all died at the same time, why has this one decayed till only its bones are left, obviously dying a long time ago, while the others haven't decomposed at all? Luo Feng was suspicious. Time was a very powerful weapon. Under time's movement, what kind of body could not decompose? He surveyed the surroundings of the hall. The hall was most empty, only the floor and ceilings had dents here and there, as though a battle had occurred before. A sound came through. Luo Feng was startled. The dark hall suddenly lit up, A blinding light shot down from the ceiling of the hall, enveloping the entire hall. At the same time, the peculiar light concentrated in the middle of the hall, forming a black silhouette figure of a man. This figure was about 1.4 or 1.5 meters tall, small like a child, two horns growing from its forehead, pupils red and dressed in a black robe. Luo Feng, you finally come. The black-robed child stared at Luo Feng, red pupils shining with glee. You are? Luo Feng cautiously looked at the black-robed child. The child was actually speaking one of Earth's language, Chinese. It even knew his name. I've waited for you for 50,000 years. The child shook his head. The knowledge you Earthlings possess is really too little and lousy. 50,000 years before I finally get a suitable candidate. 50,000 years? Luo Feng trembled. You are saying, this archaeological ruin has been here for 50,000 years. Have they been dead for 50,000 years? Luo Feng pointed towards the 6 uniquely shaped bodies in the hall. Yes, they've been dead for 50,000 years. The black rock child glanced at the 6 bodies in the hall, shaking his head and sighing. They were all unmatched, powerful and important figures in the vast universe, immortal beings. Time itself lost its splendor in front of these beings. Even in death, a broken bar, their bodies stay forever immortal. However, once the master dies, they must follow and be buried along with him. The black-robed child looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, follow me to pay respects to the master.